It is game day, Cowboy Nation, and I'm here to tell you two things. I will be live right after tonight's game, immediately after. Join me on my YouTube channel, and I will take your questions. I will react to your comments live right after the game. But first up, the more important order of business right now is for me to tell you exactly what I think is going to happen in tonight's Bengals at Cowboys game. I was on live right after the Thanksgiving Day game against the Giants when I realized that the spread for tonight's game was Bengals by 6.5. And I said, what? Seriously? You'll give me Dallas and 6.5 against the Bengals? Dallas, which is 5-7 against the 4-8 Bengals, who have lost 3 straight games. I will take that to my bank and I will run with it all the way to my bank. Thank you very much, and that has been back down to 5 points now. No surprise here, because the Bengals have lost 3 straight games, even though Joe Burrow, I always tell you, he's the best quarterback in football. I'm his biggest fan, but not tonight. Joe Burrow of the Bengals has been crazy hot the last 4 games. He's thrown 15 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. They have averaged 35 points a game, but they lost at Baltimore closely. They lost at the Chargers closely. They lost at home to the Steelers closely. But they lost 3 straight games to fall to 4-8. So I'm going to double down. I told you I'd take 6.5. So I got that. I made my quote-unquote bet when it was 6.5. I'm going to double down. I'm going to tell you why I believe Dallas will win tonight. I believe Dallas will get on a roll tonight. I believe this is a season-deciding game tonight because it's a make-and-break game, make or break on how you finish. Can you get on a late-season roll? Could you beat the Bengals? Yes, you could, because I believe they will. Could they win at Carolina? Sure they could. Carolina's been giant killing here of late, but not closed deals. Could they beat Tampa Bay? Tampa Bay now 7-6 on top of that division. I love Baker Mayfield. That's a Sunday night game at Jerry World. Dallas could win that game. Could they win at Philly? They always play Philly close. They should have led Philly at halftime at Dallas. But remember, the curtains weren't closed for CeeDee Lamb, and he lost the ball in the sunshine. Could they beat Washington at home to close the season? Well, they just beat Washington at home. At Washington 2 games back, right? So sure they could. Could they close 10-7? Sure they could. Would that get them in the playoffs? I have no idea. It's mind-boggling at this point to even start to debate about that. All I know is that my man, Micah Parsons, Micah 11 from heaven, said the other day that he blamed the whole season on injuries, but he said that tonight he is going to be the best player on the field because he has to be the best player on the field. He has predicted down the stretch that his 6.5 sacks that he has as we speak will finish at 17. That means he's going to have to average a little more than 2 a game. Is he capable? Sure, he's capable. He's also capable of supporting Mike McCarthy. Please drop the Mike McCarthy. So there's an interview that's going to air tonight before on ESPN before the game, in which Micah Parsons supports Mike McCarthy to come back next year because the quote is, the head coach Mike always took real good care of me. Well, Micah, did he take real good care of you before the playoff game last year against Green Bay, in which you trailed 27-0 before halftime? And you had your all-time worst career stats across the board? Did he take real good care of you before the home opener this year against New Orleans when you were blown off the field in the first half? Did he take real good care of you against Baltimore, blown off the field in the first half? Detroit, blown off the field in the first half? I could go on and on. But everybody is now supporting Mike McCarthy, starting with the owner, who clearly wants him back next year. Dak Prescott campaigning for Mike McCarthy to return next year. And now Micah Parsons campaigning, it sounds like, for Mike McCarthy to return next year. And you know what I have to say that? Okay, great. Show me. Prove it to me. Don't say it, do it. Show me tonight. Will this team show us that it wants Mike McCarthy back? You know what? I would take this. If they could win out and go 10-7, then I would stand up and say, okay, let's bring him back for another try. Please drop the Mike McCarthy. That bump on a sideline log, that boob that is Mike McCarthy. I'm done with him, but if you showed me that this team stood up for you down the stretch and would finish with, let's see, they've won 2 in a row, that would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. If you won your last 7, it'd be hard for me to argue against Mike McCarthy returning next year. So starting tonight, Micah, show me. You're coming off your mini bye. For the first time all year, you're going to have all 3 of your cornerbacks in the lineup. I assume Trevon Diggs, listed as questionable, is going to play. Deron Bland is playing. Jordan Lewis is playing. You're going to have all 3 corners against those stud Cincinnati receivers, starting with Jamar Chase. Show me. Do it. Stand up for your coach tonight. Show me that you can do this, that you can win a season-turning game, season-saving game against the Bengals on Monday Night Football for all the world to see. CeeDee Lamb's shoulder should be a little better after 10 days off. Brandon Cooks is back. Jonathan Mingo is working into the rotation. Jake Ferguson should be back tonight from a concussion for Cooper Rush. Zach Martin, God bless him. I'm knocking on wood for him. Hope he heals quickly from his surgery. I'd love to see him back next year. I doubt I will. I think he's going to retire, and he's going to be a cinch first ballot Hall of Famer. But the point is, this kid, Brock Huffman, I don't know much about him because he was undrafted out of Virginia Tech, started with Cleveland, wound up in Dallas. He started a couple games this year. It's been pretty quiet over there. I think he's decent. I think our offensive line is decent, and Cincinnati's is not. Cincinnati's pass blocking unit is ranked by Pro Football Focus 26th. They can't protect Joe Burrow. Their run blocking is ranked tied for 30th. That's second from last to New England, which is last. Would you believe that Cincinnati's defense has allowed the 31st most points allowed in the National Football League? 31st. They can't stop anybody. Their rushing offense ranks 28th. They can't run the ball. They are Joe Burrow or bust. They have the best quarterback in pro football, and they have one of the worst, I'd say a bottom 3 team around Joe Burrow. So it's all Joe Burrow or bust, and I kind of like my defense's chances against Joe Burrow, which brings me to Cooper Rush, which brings me back, if I can flash back quickly, to the night of September 18th of 2022. What happened that Sunday night at Jerry World? Cooper Rush started his 2nd game of his career. He'd started one the year before against Kirk Cousins up in Minnesota on Sunday night, and he beat Kirk Cousins with a late last-second walk-off pass to Amari Cooper. Cooper Rush did that. He was really good in that game, and he was even better against Joe Burrow. So I'm going to give you the blueprint for how Dallas can beat Cincinnati tonight, because I saw it with my own 2 eyes that night at Jerry World, September 18, 2022. I watched Cooper Rush outplay Joe Burrow and beat the Bengals. That night, Cooper Rush had a QBR of 86, that scale of 0 to 100. 86 is high and mighty. Joe Burrow had a QBR of 57 that night. By his standards, 50 being average, shockingly average. That night, Joe Burrow threw for a grand total of 199 yards. He didn't even get to 200, while Cooper Rush threw for 235 yards. They each threw 1 touchdown pass, neither threw an interception. Interesting. Micah Parsons that night says he has to be the best player on the field. He was the best player on the field because he sacked Joe Burrow twice in that game. Joe Burrow's Bengals that night fell to 0-2. Everybody thought they would bounce back because they had been in the previous year's Super Bowl and they'd lost their home opener to the Steelers in overtime. Joe Burrow had a bad game in the opener. He had 4 interceptions. Everybody said he'll bounce back and just destroy Dallas. Nope, did not happen. Micah Parsons had 2 sacks that night and 5 hits on Joe Burrow. I need to see that tonight, Micah Parsons. Back it up. Show us how badly you want Mike McCarthy to return tonight. So what happened in that game? Dallas' defense rose up after Joe Burrow's offense got pinned back at his 8-yard line. and put a 3-and-out on Joe Burrow, and Cincinnati had to punt it away. It was a good punt, 63 yards, but Dallas got it still at its 35-yard line with 57 seconds left. I'm giving you the blueprint. And Cooper Rush, of all undrafted quarterbacks out of Central Michigan, popped into the huddle, said, "Here we go," and he completed 3 straight passes, starting with 57 seconds left. He hit CeeDee Lamb for 8 yards, he hit Noah Brown for 12 yards, and he hit CeeDee Lamb again for 10 yards. And all of a sudden, it was 1st and 10 at the Cincinnati 35. They ran Tony Pollard for 3 yards. Cooper Rush spiked it, and Brett Maher made a 50-yard walk-off field goal, 20-17 Dallas. By the way, I just checked on Brett Maher. Whatever happened to him? He's not even in football anymore. He's just turned 35 years of age. I thought he was pretty good. I called him Brett the Fret, but I thought he could be a little hit and miss, but he was more hit than miss. I'll give you that. But he's no Superfoot that we have now. But the point is, maybe Superfoot can win the game tonight. Maybe Bank of America can win one tonight for us again. This is the blueprint. Cooper Rush is now 7-3 as an NFL starting quarterback. That's pretty good. Cooper Rush will play with confidence tonight because he already outplayed the best quarterback in pro football head-to-head back in 2022. Seems like a long time ago, but not for Cooper Rush. I think he will be very good tonight. I can see the score being low, but not as low as 20-17, because I don't think we can hold Joe Burrow to 17. I'm going to give Joe Burrow 20 tonight. But I say the defense rises and shines tonight and does hold Joe Burrow, averaging 35 over the last 4 games, to 20 points tonight. And I say Cooper Rush is easily good for 24 tonight. Cooper Rush will put up 24 on a defense that has allowed the 31st most points scored against. 24. Just give me 24 tonight. We didn't even control the ball that night. We didn't even keep Joe Burrow off the field that night. It was 36 minutes for Joe Burrow to only 24 for Dallas. You would like to reverse that. You would like Rico Dowdle, who's just getting a little better each game, to give you 120 tonight and allow you to control the ball from 36 minutes to 24 for Cincinnati. That would be the recipe for a great post-game live for me. But I am going Dallas 24, Joe Burrow 20. And I will join you immediately after the game on my YouTube channel. I will take your questions. I will react to your comments, and we'll see just how right I am. Micah Parsons, I dare you to make me right tonight.